Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back on the Star Wars Black Series action figure review, taking a look at another figure from relatively, I think the most recent wave of Black Series, but this figure has technically been around for a while now. It is the Cassian Andor figure from Andor, his own show. And this is a figure I actually did not plan to get. Or I guess I did initially plan to get it. I pre-ordered it a while back, a long time ago. And then I eventually got the vintage collection figure. The vintage collection figure was so good where I was like, I don't need to have the Black Series version. The vintage collection one's great, and from pictures I've seen, the Black Series one doesn't look as good. But I forgot that I had a pre-order for this figure. I forgot to cancel it, and it shipped, and I got it, and I just decided to keep it, I guess. And it's really not a bad figure. I think maybe this figure gets a little bit more bad of a rap than it deserves, but I definitely don't think it's better than the vintage collection figure. Make a long story short, but we'll take a closer look first. And I think the big thing with this figure, it is the head sculpt and the face print. For characters that are, I don't like to say bland, but not quite as toyetic, I guess, like a trooper might be. I feel like a lot of if the figure's gonna be good or not rests on the head sculpt and likeness, especially when it comes to Black Series. I think the likeness is kind of there. I think the sculpt is good. I think maybe something isn't quite right with the face print. I don't know. It does look better in person, I do think, but I don't know. It's not as good as it could have been. The vintage collection one I think is a lot better, and I'll do a comparison a bit later. I think it's not bad. I think the sculpting work that's done is good. It just, there's something about it that isn't quite there, and he does have kind of that glossy face syndrome that a lot of Black Series face printed figures have. The rest of the figure is sculpted and painted really nicely, to be fair. All the details of his clothing, his belt there with the gold is pretty well done. He does have some tools there on his little belt thing that aren't painted. They're just the same color as the tunic. I know it's covered by a coat. You're pretty much almost never going to see it, but it does look kind of bad. It is worth mentioning, I think. The coat looks good, though. You've got this dark maroonish brown with this darker, normal, like brown to contrast, which I think looks really nice, and the sculpted detail to make it look like the fabric and material that the coat's made of, I think looks pretty good. And the pants also really nicely sculpted with a lot of nice sculpt to make it look like baggy clothing, with the boots looking pretty good, but not a whole lot of weathering or anything either, which I kind of wish this figure had as well, especially considering it doesn't come with a ton of accessories or anything. Kind of wish maybe a little bit of extra effort maybe could have went into paint and all that. But it's not bad. It's could have been better. I don't know. Could have been better. Articulation wise, it's got a dumbbell joint in the neck. It goes up and down, pivot. It's okay. Hinges at the shoulders go about 90. They rotate. There is actually a butterfly joint in there, but because of the coat, you're really not going to get a whole lot of posability out of that. Single hinges at the elbows, rotation, hinge, joint in the waist. That doesn't move that much, honestly. Rotates good. Pivots actually quite a bit. Doesn't really crunch a whole lot. The trigger hand does have an up and down hinge on the wrist, so that's nice. Ball joint at the hip goes up, splits a decent amount. The coat does flex out of the way a fair bit. Slow cut at the thigh. Single hinge at the knee, which is kind of tight, but it's not too bad. And it does bend actually a fair amount, but it does look kind of ugly, I guess. But I mean, it's an articulated figure. What do you expect, I suppose? And then hinge at the ankles actually move pretty good, surprisingly. And then rotation or pivots at the ankle. So he's pretty well articulated. You can get a lot of decent poses out of him. So that's good. And accessories, he does just come with this pistol. I am a big fan of this design of pistol. I thought it was super cool, and how it kind of did that reloading thingy movement in the show, which is cool. And it's sculpted nicely. There's a lot of really nice sculpted detail that's captured in the Black Series that they just can't do at the 3 1/4 inch scale. So that's nice. No other accessories. I'd complain about that, but I honestly don't know what else they'd include. There is a release of this guy with the little droid. I can't remember his name. I can't remember the droid's name. But unfortunately, for whatever reason in Canada, maybe in the States too, but in Canada, that exclusive is stupid expensive, and I was not going to pay that for this figure. So, yeah, I passed on that. But, yeah, not too much else to talk about, I guess. In terms of comparisons, I don't have a ton to compare it to, but I do have from this wave the Luth and Rail, and I think they look pretty good together. Not too much to talk about. And then with the Vintage Collection, here he is with the Vintage Collection. I will say I kind of like how the coat on the Black Series is darker than on the Vintage Collection. I don't know which is more accurate, but if I can get them in close, put the arm down there and get the... I don't know what it is, but I do think the 3 1/4 one looks a lot better. I think the paint and maybe the sculpting for the beard looks better. I just don't know what it is. I just like the Vintage Collection one a lot more. I think the Vintage Collection one looks a lot better. But I think they're both okay. Or I think the Black Series one's okay. I do think the Vintage Collection one's better, but the Black One Series one's still okay. I don't think it's quite as bad as some people would say, I guess. Overall, it's a fine figure. If you're collecting the Andor stuff and you exclusively collect Black Series, then I definitely recommend picking this one up. It's your only option, I guess. If you collect only Vintage Collection one, you're covered with the Vintage Collection figure. And if you collect both lines like I do, and I would just go with the Vintage Collection one. That's what I kind of wish I did. If I had remembered to cancel my pre-order for this, I would have canceled it, because I think the Vintage Collection one is perfectly good. It's in some ways better, like I said, better face print and head sculpt, I think, and just does everything else the same pretty much. So I would go with Vintage Collection one if you're a collector of both lines. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.